Looks like I am live. All right. So this is a live stream on YouTube. My goodness. Are we recording now or has it been recording for a minute? Looks like I am live. All right. So this is and now that I've caught up to myself, I'm going to silence this tab and I'm going to go to regular Zoom. And now that I've caught up to myself, you probably can't hear myself talking back, but I do. All right. So I'm going to hit the record button on Zoom. This will be the official meeting. Is my hair wild enough? I'll be able to do that. Nope. I think I had it earlier. People on YouTube going, "What's he doing?" All right, what kind of character that is. All right, so let me go back to the Zoom. We're going to start recording to the cloud. And then this will be the pass along. So I guess I'm recording. Hey everybody, it's drmike.org. That's my avatar as a social scientist playing the role of a change maker. So I wanted to share some of these ideas that where it's evolved to, as it's really, going back 30, 40 years. So where am I taking this? Well, so in the serious regard, as calling myself a social scientist, I want to evolve a CARES model. And I'm sure there might be something else out there. And if you social workers or group therapists and people who study the culture, let me know. So the CARES model, I use a lot of acronyms, and my website, by the way, is drmike.org. The CARES model is community action research. What are we researching? Engagement. Why the engagement? We're looking at least from myself, enlightened ways so that we can become examples of, you could say, a better society. So it's sort of like a community conversation that is relevant to social issues, concerns we have for each other in the times that we're living in. So it's a conscious objective. So we are coming together in community, reflected in the conversation and our connection. That's going to enable us to change our world. And it needs to happen really on an intimate level. So I'm calling them loving conversations. These are all my .coms, lovingconversations.com, communityconversations.com, which was my dissertation. Studying how organic dialogue and also the interest from studying people who were, to me, to the degree that I could observe, have insight. And whether some people call them gurus or shamans, um, people who studied whole brain functioning, the idea of sort of an evolved, you could say, personages, whether it's Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs, struggle and survival at the bottom, to somehow, ascertaining things and having more ability and access to resources, becomes a bit more conscious or self-actualized. And then towards the end of his life, he wrote about a transcendence. So what is this? This is what makes me curious and study. So it makes me more of a social philosopher because I'm looking at the idea, ontologically speaking, studying a way of being that would be enlightened. So the CARES model is community action research, studying engagement. And this engagement being enlightenment would be the transformative element to study, right? And it would be something we'd want to have desirable and sustainable and would evolve because we're giving it our best practices and learning. And it's not just AI and data. We're teaching ourselves so we can keep up and have this quantum leap, right? Doesn't mean that we have to be reprogrammed per se. Just have to dump out, the trash, garbage in, garbage out. Anyway, getting back to the idea of the CARES model, community action research on engagement is the study of enlightenment and the way that we can live it and express it. So rather than just having EQ and IQ, right, emotional intelligence and IQ, we came, it's because we're live. I see someone's hand going up, but who's on my Zoom? This is me recording myself, but it could be on YouTube. If you're watching, just get in touch with me, drmike.org, and we can have a community conversation and certainly a loving one. So this idea to evolve is really sort of this person in action. So the question might be about my other writing called IGO, because recently came up in a group dialogue where I was introduced. You got a trademark on the word IGO, IGO. What's that? It's not your ego. You spelled it wrong. It's not your ego. Your IGO is the person imagined. It's really literally naming the selfie of the mind. And it's incredible. I've never named it. And yet it's worthy of study because it's a projection of I go in my mind and my imagination. So I'm seeing myself as a social scientist and making my quantum leap contribution would be how to connect into community in such a way that, consciousness is raised just from the simple interaction of being a bit more attuned and conscious. It's really quite simple, actually. So the marriage of this IQ, intelligence quotient, or if we want to be the EQ on this side and the IQ, right brain, left brain, reptilian, what is it that brings it all together that I call the XQ? So I don't know why we don't have that. It's like we have IQ and EQ. Let's put it all together. David Jubb's whole brain functioning work of I-awareness. How is it expressed? I call it the XQ as a quotient. So this would be the ability to, whether side you're on, stay in the middle, and yet have a forward perspective, perhaps something that is lighting up the frontal cortex that's going, okay, I'm getting it. And I'm following along to where it's bringing me to that desired self-realization and recognition of what it is that's projected in this ego. So I can be free of it at the same time I can perfect it if that's my goal. At least I'm conscious of it. So related to Dr. Jubb's work on whole brain functioning, I-awareness to me is clarity, right? Having sort of a conscious I-awareness of my TWA, thoughts, words, and actions. TWA, thoughts, words, and actions. Am I conscious of what I'm saying, thinking, and how am I acting? This is a contemplation. And this expression of, the XQ is getting out of the excuse into something that's a bit more dynamic and caring. And if we could model this in theory as a social philosopher, you could say scientist studying things, well, the breakthrough is where we step up, you do your part, I do my part. We create an environment for people to come together. So why I recorded this, what I'm proposing is that we throw a wide net. Yes, I love networking. We have networking clubs. What's behind it? Maybe on the top of this echelon or this hierarchy, if there's going to be something of an advisory board, let's call it a visionary board, and where we can be a part of something to envision and fill in the blocks theoretically, but also, yes, caringly, scientifically, we're contributing to this new literature, this, awareness journal, this aspect of, being caring as we can and considerate. We endeavor to start and launch a friendship fellowship that at its core keeps us connected because we are friends, or at least if you want to be beyond a Facebook friend, step up. And we might have these community conversations, loving conversations, maybe webinars, seminars, gatherings, sweat lodges, whatever it would be, hanging out with a shaman. So it'd be sort of like interesting. And we could start just with Zooms like we're doing now, or I'm doing myself. It's an invitation, particularly with the new year coming, to reach out and say hello and invite your friends into a conversation that considers consciousness in the way that, at least in evaluating this, as a philosophy, if I were to name it, outside of a self-liberation movement, self-liberation, whatever that means for you, getting out of our stuck stories, the artificial little self, or self-liberating that true soul, that ideal that was one time the total consideration. Now it's just maybe getting by, hiding behind what isn't, pretending what's not. So how do we wake up out of the mass trance, which is a book it's overdue for writing, but I want to have the solution first. Masstrance.com, literally the hypnosis of society. Boy, this guy's talking a lot of gibberish, this Dr. Mike. Mass trance. Yeah, I'm in it. I want to wake up. Work's a cool word if you understand it in the right way. Otherwise, you're put to sleep. Masstrance.com. So there's a lot here. And how can we elegantly, bring down the stodgy, right? The limiting, ill-functioning institutions. We're not talking about reform, baby. We're talking about transformation. Whatever that is, you're needed. You're invited to be a part of this conversation. And it can get deep, and sometimes we do defend things that are just made up, or like the ego, or think there's something to pretend that has to be defended. We can let it go and really come from a neutral sort of, you could say, organic space. We're just being natural. We're coming from source. It's heartfelt. I don't think much else needs to be asked. Simply being present. And this name of the philosophy would be ultra being. So it's the study of whatever this quality of being as an ontology, which is a philosophy studying what I would think would be excellence, enlightenment, and existence, because it is a study of existence. How are we existing? This is a great, great question, right? So to have a community conversation on this level, to me, can make a profound, in my dreamy thinking, impact. Not only your ability to deliver your true essence and make a community contribution, something that's long lasting to the generations of friendship fellowship. We're able to connect. And in this way, be quite natural. And this is what the study would be. And many of us are. And yet there might be something a bit more engaging on this CARES model that's going to allow us to go to another level. Another level. So it might be something presumed, wished for, hoped for, imagined. It is on this level of UBE3. So that's the formula. UBE3. Gandhi's dictum was, you be the change you wish to see in the world. You be the change. So UB letters. E3, Einstein's, taking it to that nth degree, E equals MC squared, right? So UBE3 simply is ultra being. So study of what this ultra being is. Ultra being present, sense of this I-awareness. It's practice, right? Because what's in the moment is observed as social scientists. The CARES model, community action research of engagement. So what is this engagement? UBE3. It could be something beyond this, but this seems to be the foundational standard, the breakthrough. It's like, what is UBE3? Ultra being an excellent example of enlightenment, whatever it means to you, your experience, right? Your study of it. So the latest writing is phenombook.com, PHENOM book.com. Another plug, but it is the study of this. Phenom to me is studying the phenomenon. That's about phenomenology, the study, explaining the structure of our experiences. Not that I'm explaining it, but I'm observing things. And I wrote phenombook.com, which basically is a take, some AI help defining what is phenomenology. So it could be explained in a way that we can become to better understand the sense of identity that's projected, ideas, internal dialogue. And in this way, we're a bit more present. It's ultra beingness, UBE3. Ultra being an excellent example of enlightenment, whatever it means for you. What does enlightenment mean for you? How can it be expressed, right? How can this experience, be exercised? Maybe it's exorcised, right? Get that devil out of that boy. What's he talking about? Self-liberation. UBE3. Throw him into the fire. I hope the stuff intrigues you. So there's a lot of websites to check out. GrandTourIdeas.com kind of summarizes the philosophy, needs to be updated. Phenombook.com, which is not there yet, is the most latest thing. Phenombook.com, PHENOM. The phenom to me is the here and now. Phenomena, studied, observed. It has to be absorption, like Krishnamurti said, the observer being observed, because we are affecting the experience and the impact, even just how we associate to it. Friendship fellowship would bring us together in a way that we could connect with each other, re-empower friendship, reinvigorate it, because we're talking about friendship fellowship. Yes, from an academic perspective, you would be a fellow. From the spiritual pursuit, whether it be in the church, or whatever the denomination it would be. Fellowship, I'd like to join the fellowship. Yeah, that's right. We got to have a fellowship, a friendship fellowship. So for me, my task is, and it's challenging to go back in my past because I screwed up some relationships and it was just out of stupidity mostly. But certainly, you could say lack of proper engagement on this type of level that I'm speaking on my high horse soapbox. It's just sort of being what I call genuous, but so it's genuosity. It's being genuine in the way that you can be giving of yourself without ego, without expectation, really, other than it's goodwill. And the friendship fellowship would perhaps reach back like I'm doing some of my past friendships and say, hey, maybe because of technology, you just lost touch, people move before internet, or they're not using that email no more. Our phone numbers have changed, God, how many times, right? So let's see if we can be in touch in some way that we do care for community. We can find a means to be conscious in our contribution. That could be UBE3 as a long-lasting legacy in a way that we become what I call the MVP, more meaningful, and visible in our vision, things that we value and inherently are going to express with each other in a purposeful way that, yeah, it's, as Tony would say, passionate and playful, as Dr. Joe would say. So and I've got a lot of other people I can quote who've been influences in my life. So it's me studying what works, and I have this UBE3 framework of ultra being, an excellent example of enlightenment. I never met anybody who's got total, has it together. I haven't met that person. And yet there are aspects of each of us that I've observed that are, just delightful. And that's where I'm coming from. Lovingconversations.com. To me, it's the premise and the gateway for how we change things. I mean, I'm talking about a quantum leap so we can have a desirable, sustainable future. And as a care scientist, literally from this perspective, community action research on this quality of engagement, defining the experience of enlightenment, UBE3, ultra beingness, present, ultra being loving, ultra being this what it would be for you, defined as being excellent. And you become the example, is enlightenment. And this is easy education because it's just being free. It's this XQ expression, no longer the excuse, but the full brain expression, creative, endeavor that brings us, you could say, into the fulcrum. I'm just making that up. But there is sort of what I describe as an ARF, an art field. It's the arena we're playing in. And there's a ratio in this field of endeavor, how we communicate, what I call it also a metasphere, the atmosphere between us. And so it could be the social climate. And yet let's really, as social scientists, define it in a way that we can express what it is that we're feeling and know that it's safe and it's okay in this community conversation or this more intimate, loving conversation. It's okay. It's very permission oriented. It's allowing. And it could be that tension or breakout for a moment. And we can examine perhaps where that came from. We don't have too much to get into the whys. To be wise is to be able to let it go and to be present to it and could acknowledge it. Maybe I score a point. Maybe you sort of say, well, that, whatever it is. Just be able to let it go, as Guy Finley would say, is really the key thing, isn't it? And I see people challenge all the time. Like I said, I've never met the perfect one yet in this lifetime in physical form. Not that I have imaginations, I do, but they're constructed and I'm aware of it. So in the way that I can construe a CARES model, it is to engage, right? Because I care. And it is community action. And it is the research on how I can evolve this engagement. And I'm asking for your help and support. You launch a friendship fellowship. Be my friend in this endeavor. I know a lot of my friends, my closest friends, think, oh my God, he's got another idea he wants to involve me in. Not that anyone recently has been involved in any of my ideas, other than maybe hearing them and going, oh my God, where does he get them from? I'm inspired. I'm amused. Hopefully you're amused. And yeah, I can't think of anything better. To be honest with you, to enrich the possibility of engagement to the pinnacle point, the peak of enlightenment, whatever this would be, is the invitation that I can't pass up. It's my calling, and yet it could be so far out in other people's realm. It's like, what the hell? Also, I got a PhD, which is, really to be ADHD. And yet there's something there of a premise that if we can come together in a conscious community conversation, could be very transformative. How, you wonder? Contemplate it, wonder it. Community, coming together, community conversations, just on anything perhaps. It could be a theme, it could be an objective, a social issue, something vital, just getting to know each other, talking about what's up, and simply being attuned and present. In this regard, we're cautious and careful, and yet we are expressive. Coming from this dimension is this evolvement and practice of UBE3, ultra being, an excellent example of enlightenment as you're engaging. And it's being empty, really. And not having a thought necessarily. I am simply here and now, present. And if something comes up, I can study it and step back from it, perhaps. I get caught into it. Another shiny object to chase. or not. Sometimes, most of the time, it's kind of over me. What was that? And yet, it is this quality of engagement, right? This kind of communication I'm hoping to happen. So, if you wish to connect, communityconversations.com, drmike.org, friendshipfellowship.com. I'd love to get your input on this. You'd be one of the first members, the first friends that join this. And it could be transformative to just re-engage and re-empower friendship on a level to where it spreads. Now, it can have its different communities, right? That's fine. Because if it re-engages people to the idea that what's become meaningful is that if I'm called a friend or ordained in the friendship fellowship as a, whatever that means, as a community engager or a leader, I become an ambassador or an emissary for this work. And what is the work? It's simply being attuned, loving, caring, and kind. How can I be a bit more of this for you? How can we have something together as a collective then that as a spread out? And it could be from some other than a community action research engagement as a social scientist. There could be other values that might be attached to your traditions or beliefs. That's okay for me, as long as it's understood that this is nothing other than caring for community. We're doing a bit of research to see if we can have a breakout model. Friendship fellowship could be the carrier of messaging, a way for people to feel they have something they can belong to as a membership that has meaning, value, and purpose, the MVP. And now they're able to step up in their own lives because they have felt connected, heard, able to express and connect into this dimension that allows it to expand. And this is where the quantum potential leap theory is, right? It's like, how do we become enlightened? How can it be the 101 monkey that kind of goes, oh, this is how you wash the, what was it, potato? You know that story? We would be our own story. We'd be our own legacy. We would be our own, really, for generations to come. This is legend because we're offering something, and who knows where it goes. The possibility is transformation for yourself, for your immediate circle of friends, as a fellowship in the way that we come together of service, getting past the ego or the concern of something that is blocking whatever, the you, the us, from occurring. What else can be that helps free people up from the herd, right? The herd mentality. What'd you hear about this friendship fellowship? It kind of engages people so they can be a bit more attuned to this value and perhaps explore possibilities in this safe space. And yet it can be a challenge, right? Because it's an offer, an opportunity to come forward, to take off that mask. I call the mask morbidity. It's the modus operandi of rational behavior that's so programmed. It's socialization as part of that mask trance. Yet how do we become a bit more attuned than I wear so that I'm no longer caught up into it? I might have had that thought or that temptation or that reaction, but I caught myself. I was able to let it go. It's a practice. I'm not claiming anything other than, wanting to study it more. I don't even call myself a teacher of it, because that's the greatest teachers ever lived is within you. Only my thing would be to coax it, to coach perhaps, to help you bring out what's the best in you. That's the quantum leap. I've not seen anything quite like this yet. Although you may have been on some retreat or some shamanic journey or something where you've had that experience. So we model the masters, and it's within us to discover this. And so how do we support each other in a very natural, simple way of getting along? At the same time, we're inquisitors. Yes, it's the Inquisition. So that we can do this in an elegant model that brings down the stodgy paradigm, elegantly wakes people up in the mass trance. So there's no blood in the streets. It's sort of like a quantum aha. Could have had that V8. Now we do. Help people along, not add to their burden, not make them wrong. God knows I've been doing that, right? How many fingers pointing back at me? So we can be kind and gentle, ultra being loving, attuned, simply practicing being ultra being present. And Otto's chatter and stuck story. So whether it be community conversations or like a Monday morning coaching or something that comes together in a school, cooperatively doing a summit or a course, let's chat. Let's let's meet again. Let's have a group consideration here and come up with something that's viable that actually launches a true friendship fellowship that kind of spreads virally. Maybe as its impact as a carrier for your message or for your course or offering. If it's a good offer, we're open to it. It's all about offerings and givings and love ties. Let's be in touch. Okay. drmike.org. Oh, my childhood friends are going, oh, Guerrill's back. I am, mate. Yeah, it's just always a different show up in a different form. Please spread this along to folks, and I'll create a landing page at friendshipfellowship.com. At least explore the concept. Now, I know it might be framed in a certain way because looking at tipping point theory, you look at that first denominator, the early interest that helps spread the word, because they're the ones that are the tellers, right? The mavens and what we would describe as beacons of light that would adapt to it and go, oh my God, this is really great. And they become sort of great success stories in their own way that they felt that this was really exactly what they want to have, that they can be a part of and lead, really, ultimately, right? By your own excellent example. All right, I'm Dr. Mike. Hope these ideas are enticing to you. It's sort of just my way of being present these days, being part of my originals. Kind of like being a monkish these days. I'm gonna have to kind of create one, but it's I think it's 4 degrees or -4. It's supposed to be so freezing. Like some people, cars might not start. Don't go out. Be in. All right, anyway, I'm going to ramble on. I know it's time to head off here. All right. Yeah, I'm serious about the idea. Friendshipfellowship.com, you can have .org. Looking at doing, I guess, not-for-profit filing. I feel this is going to be my major community contribution in the way that I can study it, organically grow it, and be a part of something that I feel really good about because it's like the best possible way of leading to things in the way that creates a path to connect and to at least consider the study of these ideas, UBE3. What is ultra being? An excellent example of enlightenment expressed by you. All right, I'm off. I'm signing off, right? drmike.org. I know some of you guys are going to be intrigued. Can't wait to, you can email me, Mike at igoism. So MIKE at IGOISM.com. I want to read that piece of writing at igoresearch.com. Mike at igoism.com. All right, that's it. Thanks, guys. Happy holidays if you're getting this during that period. This is something organically we start, we launch, we become founders of. I think you get the idea.